Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll see another Leetcode problem, the problem valid Sudoku. So here what we have to find that we have 9 cross 9 Sudoku board, and we need to find it out whether it's valid or not. So we need to have some particular logic, and based on that we need to find only the filled cell. First logic will be the each row must contain the digit 1 to 9 without repetition. Each column will have 1 to 9 without repetition. And third condition, we have each of the ninth 3 cos 3 sub box of the grid. We need to find whether there is a duplication or not. So the first condition, whatever we have, it's very easy. How we will do? For the each and every row we need to create one hash map, and against that we'll put the element and we'll check that whether we have any duplication or not. For columns also we will create another hash map, and we'll store that column's value, and respective to that columns we'll check whether we have that element, whatever we have in that columns. Let's say this is the columns, right? So whether we have the duplicate value, this will be the value, let's say 5 or 6, that will be stored based on the columns. So this will be the column, this will be the row, and like that way we'll store that columns and row has map, and based on that key value pair we can find whether we have a duplicate in each row or column. But the problem is here when we calculate the grid, right? We have 3 cross 3 grid here. We have this grid, we have this grid. So each and every 3 cross 3 we have grid, and we need to find out whether is there any duplicate or not. So how do we calculate that 3 cross 3 elements? So here the logic is what we need to do. Let me draw this to better understanding. Let's say we have this block, right? 3 cross 3 block. So let's say we have one block here that will be this block is, let's say this will be uh, 1 and 2. Let's say 1 and 2, this is the block. So for 1 and 2 element we need to find it out, this particular element where it exists, in which grid in it exists, and based on that grid, value, we will create the hash map, and we'll map that value, right? So this will be the grid index, this will be the grid index, and this will be the value, right? So here the grid index we need to find. How do we get the grid index? We know that this is the index of 0, right? The index will be, grid index will be 0 and 0. This grid index will be 0 and 1, we can say like that. But how we will get this value 0 0 0 1? So we can get it by divide by 3, as we have the length of this grid as a 3 cross 3, right? This is the 3 cross 3 grid. So if we divide this, let's say for 1 and 2, if we divide 1 divide by 3, the value will be we need to take the floor like 0, and for 2 divide by 3 the value will get the 0, then the grid index will get 0 and 0. For let's take another example. Let's say we'll calculate this 8 and 8, this index, this, for this block we need to find the grid index. So we'll see this is the 8 divided by 3, and we'll take this 8 divided by 3. So how we'll find these things? Let's say 8 divided by 3 is how much? 8 divided by 3 is 2 and 8 divided by 3 is 2, then this grid index will be 2 and 2, right? So like that way we need to find and we need to create a hash map and we need to map the value, and again we'll do the same condition and we'll create a hash map and we'll put the condition like is there any unique value is there, or if there is any duplicate any duplication will return false. So let's take a look on the coding part. Let me clean these things and we'll write the coding for this. So we need to create the three hash map, right? So for the complexity per point of view, as we are creating the hash map, the complexity will be bigger of base complexity will be bigger of n, right? And time complexity, as we are traversing a array, so that will be linear time bigger of n. So let me create three map, right? So let rows equals to new map, let calls equals to new map, let blocks, if we name it as a blocks, that will be a new map. We will create a three separate map. And now what we are gonna to do, now we are gonna to traverse the number array, sorry, traverse the board. Let r equals to 0 and r less than 9. We have 9, right? R plus plus. Similarly we'll do for column. Let c equals to 0 and c less than 9, sorry, c less than 9 and c plus plus. Okay, and now what we are gonna to do, let's take the number, right? It will be more easier to understand. Number will be, what will be the number board we have, and r and c. So now we'll use a if condition. If number, whatever number we have, not equals to a dot, because the empty position we are just ignoring, right? Not equals to dot, then only we are calculating. If we will calculate whether the elements are in that three hash map or not. So how we will calculate? Let's say we have rows are, if rows are position in the rows map, we have the value. If we have the value, we'll calculate rows are dot has, will calculate the particular element like number we have or not. So or we will calculate. So let's say we need to give a bracket here, right? And here we need to give another bracket to close this for loop. And for columns also we'll do the same thing, right? And instead of rows we'll use the calls. Calls is that map name, and that index will be c, and here we have calls, and here we have c, and here we have the number, right? So the same way we can calculate for blocks also. For blocks, the index for the blocks, what will be the index? The index will be, we need to calculate by divide by need to calculate that particular block's number, right? So here we need to divide by 3 and we need to take that floor of that particular division. So we'll use this math.floor math.floor, and we'll calculate this or divide it by 3, and we'll again calculate that math.floor, and we will take c divided by 3, right? So this will be that for particular index we need to find we need to calculate like this way, and we need to check whether the number exists or not, whether we have that number exist into this particular you know into this, sorry, one second, into this particular block or not. So how we will calculate this block, whatever number we have in the block, and dot has number, dot has number, right? So if these three condition exist of any of these, if it is true, then we'll simply return false, because for if those condition match, then it is not a Sudoku, right? And then for else condition, what we are gonna to do, we need to set it, right? In else condition we'll set that map or number, and we have calls dot set, we have c number, right? And for blocks dot set, for blocks whatever we have, right, this condition, this index we need to add, and against that we'll put the value as a number. And at the end, what we're gonna to do, at the end we need to return true. By default it will be return true, right? If that condition not matched, let me run this code. So let's say what it's, oh, it's accepted, right? So it's pretty much about this problem, and like that way we can add we can achieve that linear time complexity. This, the time complexity will be not linear, I'm sorry, the time complexity will be big of n square. And yeah, that's it about this problem. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more update, more content related to data structure and algorithms.